Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today we're coming at you from Las Vegas, Nevada, just like every day we stream. Also, today we are talking about the Litecoin halving is officially done. What does that mean for the price of Litecoin? We're also talking Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. They've degened into Bitcoin yet again. Also, CZ and Binance, is the U.S. government sparing all of us? I'll explain to you what I mean. But first, here is your other co-host, Robin.
That was an amazing intro.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. Well, we take old, boring, and kind of like David Steele information, and we repackage it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, did Bitcoin hit 30K?
No.
It came close.
No.
I sold it at $29.9, and I was like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Cross that line.
Nope.
Why are you hating, bro?
I'm not.
Sound like a Bitcoin minimalist.
Thing. You know there was something like that.
We did find the Bitcoin maximalist mascot. We're going to share that here in a minute. Also, we have a life hack for you. But first, I want to give a shout out to channel sponsor Cam.
Shout out.
A shout out.
Shout out.
I want to give a shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business, you own a business, you know a friend that owns a business, and well, your networking, your IT, your cybersecurity is not up to par. There's one company to call, and that is Cam's Blue Wire Tech. Visit bluewiretech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. Speaking of videos, Robin, you got kids. I got kids. A lot of people watching got kids. You know, and one of the hardest things with kids is disciplining them and getting them to listen to you.
Oh, it's not a hard thing for me. I just straight throw a shoe at him, bro.
The chancla. And well,
you know,
life
most
hack.
people use a belt. I just go straight for the hammer. You know, just
Wow,
straight
CPS,
up, like-
CPS if you're listening.
just like, hola.
Well, we do have a couple that apparently has cracked the code. So we have a parenting hack for you all. And well, to show a demonstration, here we go. Rocco. Hey, man. It worked.
See, that's you know, here's the thing. When my kids, every time I take them to the grocery store, all they want is snacks, bro. That's it, man.
Yeah.
They grab everything on the shelf. Everything on the shelf. Like every time we pass anything, they just like grab. And I'm just
Why do you think they put all the kiddie stuff towards the bottom of the shelves so kids can reach them? You go to the cereal store, you notice the kids cereals are all eye level to kids. Grab's length, arm's length, grab away. Bad choice of words there,
And
but
then when
regardless.
this video is only the husband
telling you,
getting
man.
the slap on the face.
I'm telling you, man.
It's like domestic violence or
It's
child
alternate.
violence. Pick
It's
one, right?
alternate. The husband.
My kids, I'm telling you, they use me. You know, I'm kind of known as like the snack mule.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Snack mule.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm used solely for my snacks.
Oh. I don't know if mule's the right word, but guys, Rob, what do you know about sun bears?
Sun bears.
Yeah.
What is this?
What if I told you there is a human disguised as a bear that just is at the zoo in China?
Just like the
Well,
dog.
let's take a look at what our friends at CNN have to say. And of course, I say friends, I'm totally joking.
Not people dressed in costumes. Rumours and conspiracy theories have been swirling on social media after a viral video of a sun bear standing on its hind
ain't no bear,
legs,
that's a
looking
dude.
uncannily human and appearing to
I didn't know
wave
bears
at
wave
the
like that.
That's a
crowd.
grown ass man.
Its fur appears loose and wrinkled in places, almost like an ill-fitting bear suit. Sun bears are the world's smallest bear species, and the zoo insists people just don't understand.
It's not that.
their
Those are not
behavior.
the same, bro.
I'm pretty sure I
Right?
saw.
Those are not the same, right?
I'm pretty sure I saw one of those in Las Vegas Boulevard the other day.
So, Robin, real or fake bear?
That's a fake bear, dude.
It's a fake.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy's like getting paid, or like he wanted to do it, or you think it was like hey, he wasn't given a choice?
You know,
Xi Jinping was like, hey, we need someone to fill in these bears.Ey're not cutting it out. We need people to wave. We need the bears to wave at the people. We can't train these bears, so we need you to go in.
Well, here's the thing: if it was anywhere other than China, I might, which is actually funny. I'm pulling something up here, but anyways, if it was somewhere else in China, I would say, yeah, hey man, perhaps that is a real bear, but there's a lot of misdirection going on over there. So
a lot of misdirection these last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
here's a good example here. So hopefully we don't get canceled for this one. So,
oh god,
declaration of memes. Assembly in USA. Wow. Nice try, China.
We're definitely getting canceled.
Okay, so
well, this one actually might get us canceled too. So while we're at it, I did find the Bitcoin maximum. So I was on a Twitter Spaces yesterday. Big shout out, by the way, to Jessica Haley, the whole verified investing team, Gareth Soloway's team, for doing those spaces.
There was a lot of
there was a lot of Bitcoin
cheerleaders there. Yes.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis, and to some of them, when they make their points, I understand why they feel the way they feel, and part of me doesn't blame them. Right? When all you hear from the altcoin market is this one got scammed, send ETH here, like I get it, but I still believe that crypto and blockchain and some of these other altcoins can live side by side with Bitcoin. I do believe Bitcoin is its own separate category. So, yesterday after I got off those Twitter Spaces, I was like, there's got to be a Bitcoin maxi mascot, and well, I found one all the way hailing from India. Rocco.
Is Rocco hailing from India? Oh, I've seen this
You
guy.
don't need the anxiety. Before you bought the bullshit fantasy coin, your life was good. But then you made some money and became greedy. Now the bullshit coin is fucked. And nobody can tell you when it is going to be unfucked. Even the motherfucker who convinced you to buy the bullshit coin, who told you that it is going to be the next big thing,
Hand gestures.
that motherfucker is nowhere to be found. You
So
are on your own.
soft spoken.
And all you can do is cry about it in the shower.
You know,
Soft-spoken.
very like just almost like in a trance. Just you listen to his voice, you close your eyes, you imagine his hand going like this. Anyways, so there you have that. Also, Robin, you ever watch Blue's Clues?
Yes, man. What in the creepy gift we got going on over there?
What happened? Okay, in Vegas, right? In Vegas,
right.
it gets really hot in the summer.
Hold on. I want to shout out to the audience here. We will talk crypto at some point in this show. Like it's coming. It's coming. I promise. Stay tuned.
So
Hit the like button if you want to talk some crypto, by the way.
Well, when summer rounds in Vegas, I do have to start saving some extra money. Part of it is because my kids, they're out of school. And well, when kids are bored, all they want to do is eat.
Eat
and
snacks.
The other part is snacks, exactly. The other part is my AC. And well, what does AC? Well, according to Steve, we just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. And it's from MV Energy for $679.
Jesus.
My power bill this month was $446.
You know, my water bill was $250.
Insane.
That's just because I'm trying to keep my plants alive. So just gotta dump water on them.
Now, I'm curious to get your guys' take. What are your thoughts on spoon fries?
Stop it.
Why
But
not?
where did you find this stuff?
That is not a
Spaghetti
that is not a
on
fry,
top of the
man.
pizza,
Those are fries.
The spoon fries.
Look,
Man,
and it comes with a little ketchup on the side. I mean,
Dude, you gotta start to
guys,
eat as
this
normal.
is genius.
I mean, the wheel has been invented. It's nothing to invent new.
That is I would say there's probably 10% potato in there. What do you think?
25. throwing random numbers out there.
Yeah, like why not? Why not
Hey.
just make the carton edible too? Just be like,
probably
How
is.
about a potato restaurant where you just eat your way in the front door and then and then you chili your way out?
They're stainless steel spoon. They're coated with the fries.
Stainless
Okay,
steel.
I want to ask the chat if you would eat these spoon fries, if you ordered those, if you saw them on the menu, put a 1 in the chat.
1.
If it's absolute nah, like we ain't doing that nasty mess, kind of like Big Rob would,
Rocco,
I'm putting a 2 in the chat.
Rocco, put a 1 on my behalf.
I'm putting a 2 in the
No,
chat.
put a 1 on
because,
my behalf.
I'm putting a 2.
Okay.
I want to know where does the chat fall?
That 2 identifies as a 1. Just so you know. Now, let's talk some crypto, okay? Our friend, James Safer, and I hope he's our friend. I hope he looks at us as our friend. No, just kidding. He was on our show. He's one of the lead Bloomberg analysts for ETFs. And he was on our show, and we talked about the ETF and BlackRock. And, well, he put it at 50%. And he said, maybe I'll go 51% that it gets approved. Well, apparently now that number has moved up to 65%. Based on recent events and new information, Eric Balkunas, I believe that is the senior ETF analyst. James and Eric work hand in hand. And I are officially increasing our spot Bitcoin ETF approval odds to 65%. That's from 50% a couple weeks ago. He does go on to explain. Here's the race as I am watching it. We are completely guessing on the timing of the grayscale case dates, but we think the path of least resistance is simultaneous approval for all 8 filers plus grayscale in the aftermath of the courts vacating the SEC's denial. So the reason is they believe the grayscale has a good chance, a favorable chance of winning the lawsuit against the SEC. The linchpin for this current thesis is a grayscale victory over the SEC in federal court, which could set things up for a wave of SEC approval sometime in the 4th quarter, which would mean by the end of this year. All depends on how much Gensler wants to fight here. And so, what do you think, Rob?
I like 65%. We're Vegas, so if we're going to up the odds here, I mean, what would that be?
65% is, I believe, 65%.
That is very good assessment.
I think those
there.
are the odds, for
nice.
sure.
Appreciate that. Now I'm thinking 65%. You're probably getting a minus like 75 or something like that. If you were to do a spread, a line spread, that's where I was getting at.
We're looking at minus 110.
Minus 110
I don't know,
to
what are we
50-50,
talking
man.
about? Anyways, you're confusing everyone, including myself. I want to ask you,
What's up?
if James is correct, okay, and we do get an approval by the end of the year, how do you expect leading up, or what do you expect price action? What do you expect the narrative to shift to? What would you be preparing for, and what should people watching be preparing for?
Okay. Before I answer that, I will say that I still find it unlikely it'll be passed this year. And the reason being is that every application that the SEC has had on their desk, they have delayed. And so for that reason, just looking back on history, I think it's going to be delayed all the way to the very end. And it also happens to coincide perfectly with the halving, right? I think it's March. This is the final deadline for the BlackRock one. And then the halving is in April. Is it April, right?
It depends
April,
on
May.
the block. Like Litecoin was supposed to have on August 5th, and it did this morning about 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Let's can we get a round of applause for Litecoin? Now, if you mine Litecoin, you are now that much poorer. So there you go. And you're getting less rewards. So here's the thing. I mean, honestly, like we boil it down. I mean, we try to hype it up, but I mean, just think about it. If you're mining Litecoin, the price of Litecoin is not moving today.
It's moved down.
Even worse. And so the thing is you're not going to get a price rally out of Litecoin. So I'd be pretty pissed off, right?
So what are you saying? Litecoin miners should stop mining Litecoin?
I'm just saying I'd be pissed off if it was me. But anyways, back to the ETF. What was the question? 65%, yeah.
If it does come by the end of the year,
Oh, yeah.
what kind of advice would you give people? Should they be doing anything to prepare just in case?
No,
what?
you shouldn't be doing anything different. But there will be euphoria when that thing passes. But
So-
at the same time,
Okay, so how should people navigate that euphoria?
I would DCA up until that point. And so
Okay.
I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't buy the second it passes. I would just refrain from YOLOing into it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
It's no different than any other big news catalyst. I mean, look at XRP. The second it popped off, it was within, I think it was like 30 minutes. It had like went up 80%, right? Something like that, 70, 80%. And then from there, it just didn't get much movement. So unless you smell the ETF being approved and you buy within the next, say,
3 months, 6 months.
3 minutes. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the news breaks. If you don't buy
what
it
you're
within, I'd say 2-3 minutes, like let it go. Because if you do,
Here's the thing, Rob. Before the news breaks, you get whispers, right? And you know people in the space, people that have connections in higher places, they're going to get the information before we do. Then we're going to see Bitcoin start moving. Then we're going to hear whispers, and then bam, here it is.
well, with the futures ETF, you had the whispers come out, and a lot of it was around the fact that they had made a ticker that was going to be traded on NASDAQ or in the stock exchange, the CME, excuse me.
Here's what it is for me, okay? We literally have had and continue for the time being have the opportunity of a lifetime. And I don't say that jokingly. I don't say that. I understand the gravity of those words, and I mean every word of it, okay? We have the opportunity to front run the traditional players who have established themselves and sold their crap to us. We're able to front run the same people that control the markets, that control trillions of dollars of people's money. And we still have that opportunity, but it ends at an ETF approval. It ends at an ETF approval. And so whether you've been DCAing or you want to start DCAing, my recommendation would be whatever you decide to do, whether you want to chunk buy Bitcoin, whether you want to DCA, do it before the ETF gets approval, because once that euphoria sets in, once BlackRock and Vanguard and VanEck and ARK have to go out and start buying Bitcoin, it's almost, I don't want to say it's too late, but that window of front running the traditional financial companies is gone. And so take with that information as you will. Sound like a Bitcoin maxi there, but it's okay. Now, Robin.
Yep.
What if I told you the US government is actually looking out for crypto investors? Or at least they say they are. Well, what do I mean? Here is what I mean. I don't know if you caught the news today, Robin, but the DOJ has come out and said they want to charge Binance with criminal fraud, but they are worried that it would cause a bank run, which would harm users in the case of an insolvency. So I'm going to read, this is tweeted from Dylan LeClaire. This is published in Semfor, I believe it was Semfor. Federal prosecutors worry that if they indict Binance, it could cause a run on the exchange similar to the one that befell now bankrupt platform FTX, causing consumers to lose their money and potentially spurring a panic in the crypto markets. Prosecutors are considering other options such as fines and deferred or non-prosecution agreements. It makes it a little bigger. Similar to the one, agreements according to the people, the outcome would be a compromise holding Binance responsible for alleged criminal behavior while reducing consumer harm. That's very interesting to me, right? So they could literally, I don't want to say wipe out the crypto market, but
no, that is a threat. That's a flex. And I don't think that the DOJ cares about the traditional investor. I'm sorry. I don't think they do. I don't think they look at them like, well, if we close them down, people are going to lose money. No, I think they just would have a hard time making a legit case, getting the evidence, getting it in, getting it in front of a trial, judge, jury, whatever the procedure would be there. And for that reason, I think that they are trying to be in a position of authority and say, hey, we could get you. You ever work with that boss that You ever work at a company where they try to like tell you that they're gonna fire you? They're like, hey, we know somebody up in here's been taking their extra breaks or whatever it is.
Okay, Robin.
And you know it's just empty. It's empty threats, right?
Okay, but every human action has a reason behind it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be the reason for them
They're
to
trying to flex, man. That's it. They are trying to flex. They're trying to say they're looking at Binance and they have acknowledged that they probably could not win a court case against them. They're saying that, hey, I think they believe that they're participating in fraudulent activities. And I think that in their head, they have a hard, long court case or a hard time trying to prove that. And so for that reason, I think that they are just sending out the threats. They're like, we know you're up to no good. We could sue you. We could file charges, but we're not going to because of the investors. You ever had like that? You ever had that girlfriend? And she's all like, I would leave you, but my mom really likes you. You know what I'm saying? Like
No girl's ever said
it's
that.
like these fake threats, man. It's just
I know
like,
what you're saying. For me, I like to think, what is the reason, right? Why would they come out and say this? Why would this make headline news? And to me, I think it's starting to set up a narrative of, hey, we're not after crypto. We don't hate the space. We're just after the bad guys. And case in point, we could have bought Binance down, but we didn't. And so I think that is leading up to a larger scale, call it an attack, call it trying to take the crypto market down, call it whatever you want to call it. I think that's what it is. There's a reason behind every decision anyone makes. If I decide to take a walk, it's because I want to lose weight. If I decide to make my wife upset, it's because I want to get a reaction out of her. That's a bad example, but it is what it is.
I do want to get a reaction out of the chat. One, we had Destroyer drop a $19.99 super chat, round that thing up to $20, and then he said he loves the Sin City crew. He says we're the best. That's right. And then also, if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We got Trick Shots, David Motts, Big Dog Crypto, IJ, and Thera Week. All of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And then we have we have 66.
That is so disrespectful. Thera Week. It's Teresa Wake. And
yeah, hit that like button, bro. There it is.
that is we got to get rid of that.
That is
We're
my
getting rid of
best
that.
video that I've made. I'm just letting you know.
Teresa is from Node 40. We met her at the party.
Oh yeah,
Teresa, I'm sorry.
I'm terrible with names. Yes.
He doesn't do it on purpose, I promise. Okay,
Yeah,
but I will
I don't.
give him a spanking after.
But
the show.
I will say that at 150, was it 180 likes, we'll open up the club today. So club limit is set at 180. So let's see if we can get there. Smash the like button if you haven't already. As a matter of fact, if you hit the like button, put Ola in the chat. And get the Ola train going too.
But like Ola. Now, I do want to share something from CZ. And guys, we know our space. There's a lot of phishing scams, people calling you from Coinbase support, getting emails. Well, here's one. And I want to share with you because I want our community to be aware of everything going on and how to protect yourselves. So CZ shares what happened. So I want to share this luckily unsuccessful, but very clever and close scam incident from yesterday. The scammers are so good now they generate addresses with the same starting and ending letters, which is what most people check for doing a crypto transfer. In fact, many wallets hide the middle part of the address with the quotation marks and the three little dots to make the UI look better. The scammer then uses this address to send you dust transactions, so the address is now shown in your wallet. Now, if you want to send to the legitimate address, you might just pick one previous transaction in your wallet and copy the address. You might just copy the wrong one. This is what happened yesterday to a very experienced crypto operator. He goes on to say that he ended up freezing the money in the contract, in the address. So that's all good. But guys, always double check the entirety of the wallet address. Because there's been times where I do the same thing. I look at the beginning and the end. Cool, good to go. But these guys, these hackers, they find new ways to trick us. So please be careful out there. You got anything to add to that, Robin?
That's a new one, man. Guys,
we got to stay on top of our stuff, man.
Well, I would still always, you can always do the test transfer. Send $1,
especially if you're sending a lot of money.
Yeah, and so
My rule is if I send over $500,
because no matter what, well, I don't want to say no matter what, but I would say 95% of scams will get blown up if you send a test transaction. Now, if they have your seed phrase in some way, shape, or form, or the other side's seed phrase, you're transferring it over to a wallet that's compromised, it's different. But I would say 95% of your exploits can be resolved if you just simply send a test transaction.
All right, guys, let's move on to look at what the crypto markets are doing. But first, today's Market Watch is brought to you by none other than channel sponsor iTrust Capital, the leading crypto IRA and retirement platform out there. If you want to hodl Bitcoin, Ethereum, even XRP now, and you want to feel safe and you want to not pay taxes when you enjoy your gains in retirement, there is one company to go with, and that is iTrust Capital. Make sure to click the link in the description of this video to receive a free $100 when you fund your account. Robin, markets, go.
Markets, let's go. All right, so we got Bitcoin coming in at $29,087. A little pullback, and as we mentioned at the start of the show, we had flirted with the 30K mark. Where the hell is what's going on my page? Okay, there we go. Yeah, we flirted with the 30K mark.
I like to say
29,955. So you can see that we tested it as resistance, and just to show you, there's been a little pullback on the month chart, right? In the last 4 weeks, we flipped the 30K from support to resistance, and we came back and tested it. But zooming out to the 1 year, you can see that we are on the right track. I don't know, man.
Guys,
I'm starting to rethink that. I'm starting to rethink the ETF. You think it'll come this year? At first, I was like, no way, man. But
look, I think, I'm not as much of an expert on it as someone like James, who we shared the tweet earlier. He's obviously more tied in. He works at Bloomberg. And so they're saying they moved it up 15%. And that might not seem like a lot, guys, but you got to understand, to go from 50-50 to now more than a just about a 2/3 chance that it does get approved, they must have heard something about the Grayscale litigation, because that is what they're hanging their hat on. And if the SEC loses against Grayscale, all the ETFs are coming. Like that will be a signed, sealed, delivered. ETFs are here. And that is what I'm saying, right? 29K, even 30K. Guys, when the ETF gets approved and it goes live and people start moving funds into this ETF, and every Friday, BlackRock or VanEck have to go out and settle those buys and buy the spot Bitcoin to have on file with what people have in their ETFs, in their portfolios. I mean, we talk about it all the time, right? Supply and demand, the most basic level of economics. Supply stays the same, demand goes up, what happens to price? Even better, next year supply shrinks and demand will continue to go up. So that's what I'm saying. Like Robert Vermouth said, depends on when the GBTC case ends. I agree. These guys, James, Eric, they might have ears on the ground as far as what's going to happen. For them to come out and say 50 to 65%, when James refused to go anything above 50%, to me, that tells a lot. But, I could be wrong. Either way, Bitcoin is an asset this is the one asset where, in my opinion, you should be DCing no matter what. So, all right, let's take a look at what the regular, as the Maxis call them, the shitcoins are doing. Hex continues to bleed, down 13.4%. By the way, Uniswap delisted Hex. We're going to talk about that later. Man, so I don't like that. I don't like that. But there might be a reason why they do it, and they might not have had a choice. Caspa up 7%, XDC up 9%, Uniswap down 7.1%, go figure, and Litecoin down 5.8%. I do have a Litecoin chart here, just really quick, want to show you guys on the 4-hour. Having happened around right here, right? Having happened around right here, and we saw a spill-off of about, from open to wick down of about 7%. And so, a lot of people, and think about this too for the Bitcoin halving, right? just because the supply of Bitcoin mine gets cut in half doesn't mean the price automatically shoots up. You still need demand for that product. You still need demand for Bitcoin. And so that is why we're saying an ETF plus the halving could have a massive, never before, right? Never before seen move for Bitcoin early next year, mid next year. What are your thoughts on that, Robin? What are your thoughts on the Litecoin halving? I do actually have, where did that go?
I was looking at the Litecoin chart yesterday, and it's run up from 2017 to 2020. It's pretty comparable, right? And for me, let's see, I'm actually going to pull up the Litecoin here. So for me, yeah, I mean, look at, so in 2020 or 2017, it got up to $300. And in 2021, it got up to $300. And it got massively outperformed by the rest of the altcoin market.
Does that worry you?
Why else would I show the chart?
Does it worry you to the point where
I think that
if you had Litecoin, you would
this
sell?
is diminishing returns, man. Right? There's
Technically made new all-time high,
I mean, it technically did, but
barely.
it had slipped. Its dominance compared to Bitcoin, its trading compared to Bitcoin just massively underperformed. Its trading against Ethereum just went to bed. Name an altcoin. I mean, out of all the top coins, it underperformed everything. You could maybe throw XRP in there, but they had the lawsuit. But still, XRP outperforms them. Nobody in this category is in the same diminished returns as Litecoin. I'm just looking off of price history and longevity. You have to go back to like Dash. It would just say, well, it outperformed like Dash and
EOS.
EOS and some of these other ones, but those don't hold the market cap that Litecoin does. So I think that for where Litecoin is, just outside the top 10, there's no community building on Litecoin. Now you can catch an article here and there, a news story, but realistically, the ecosystem is not evolving.
Well, okay.
And especially when you compare it against the other layer ones.
Okay, let me show you what I had pulled up earlier. Rocco, can you swap over to my laptop? So I have some info here from BitInfo Charts. And you look at it, the transactions. So people are still using Litecoin, right? 128,000 transactions over the last 24 hours, 5,300 over the last 1 hour, over 14,800 Litecoin have been sent in the last 24 hours. The average transaction value is 115 Litecoin, which is about $10,000. Pretty fast block time compared to Bitcoin. You're looking at 2 minutes and 24 seconds. And so, people are still using it. And for me, I look at what use case can Litecoin serve? Litecoin, it was a fork of Bitcoin, lighter, larger block sizes, faster settlement, not as energy intensive. And we see every new exchange, right? Regulated, the EDX, you had PayPal. Every new one, the Litecoin is always in the fore. It's always Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Satoshi Value or Satoshi Vision. And so to say Litecoin doesn't serve any purpose, I don't know. The numbers say
I didn't say it doesn't serve
I'm not
purpose.
saying you say.
Yeah.
And I have said it before in the past myself.
I
said, what
just
does
saying-
Litecoin do? But obviously, people
my
are
thing
using
is that it is not a dead project. I wouldn't go as far as saying that, but there's not an active community building out the ecosystem to a level that you're expecting.
But do they need to build the ecosystem out though? If they said we're going to be payments, what other infrastructure do they need to build? Except adoption.
No, it doesn't have to be infrastructure like you're changing the source code or you're having dApps, but at least have somebody, some kind of face, somebody that's beating the drum that is other than Tom Crown that is trying to get Litecoin widely used. I will say that there is a possibility it comes out on top, I guess, if for some reason the transactions get even more bloated on Bitcoin and say the Lightning Network is just not executing the way it should, I don't even know how that would work, because the Lightning Network has held steady since, was it 2018? When did Litecoin really kick off? Anyways.
Litecoin's been around since 2013.
No, I'm talking about
When did it really
the
kick off?
Lightning Network.
Oh, the Lightning, my apologies. Lightning, I believe, came around 2017, 2018,
Yeah,
but didn't
so-
really...
But yeah, it didn't really get too much use till 2019.
Well, now Coinbase is talking about implementing Lightning for
Yeah.
payments. So, but you know, Lightning is a centralized solution, right? And so, and I'm not saying, right?
It's created by a centralized entity, and it's
It's just the same
it's
people
basically a roll up of transactions that is validated on the Lightning Network.
same people that are so Bitcoin maximalists that say it's the most decentralized. Centralized authorities are garbage. Well, here you have a centralized authority building on top of Bitcoin, and you're all for it. Some of it doesn't.
We
make
are
sense.
officially over halfway to the 180 likes that we need to open the club. We're over 90.
Also, if you guys are new here, please say hello. We'd love to personally welcome you. Now, Robin, before I move on to Michael Saylor and how his company is about to degen another close to $1 billion into Bitcoin, the U.S., did you see the U.S. had their credit rating dropped
Yeah,
from
we're
AAA to AA++. So I had this tweet from Dylan LeClaire. So this just paints a picture, because we've had people like Janet Yellen come out and say, they're crazy. What are they doing? Your debt exceeds your total income per year, yet you continue to pile it on, even deciding to finance interest payments by opening up a new credit line. One day you get an alert from Credit Karma. Your credit score has been downgraded. You act shocked. You are delusional. You are delusional. Now, what you guys got to understand is this. As you get dropped on the credit ratings, you have to give more money. You have to give more in terms of interest for people to buy, because it becomes more risky. So we're already at 5% for some bonds and notes. Add another percent or whatever that number is, guys, we're going to be spending all of our GDP on interest payments. Like, our tax revenue doesn't even come close to just our interest payments. So we're on and we talked about this on the Spaces yesterday. We're on a collision course when it comes to fiat money. And ask yourself this question. When that collision course finally plays out, where do you want your money in? Robin, what are your thoughts?
when the whole world goes bust.
Just them getting downgraded. Do you see more of it coming? What kind of effects can you see it having? Obviously, as the interest rates go up, that the U.S. government has to pay out.
I think it's.
Think about the effects, right? If you're getting 6% on U.S. government note, 2-year note, let's just say, right? Why in the world would you have your money in the stock market? That's what a lot of people are saying, and I can understand it. But go ahead.
It's just a number. It's just a rating that nobody really cares about.
What do you mean no one cares about?
It is exactly that. It's not like everyone's
It's
trading
a
in
number
there.
nobody cares about.
I'm not saying it doesn't have any relevance, but I'm just saying that realistically, it's not going to change anything. It's not like all of a sudden central banks around the world are going to say, hey, man, we don't trust the dollar. Let's get rid of it. I think it's just more, it's another small piece of evidence that, hey, system we have is not currently working. It's broken. There's a lot of leverage in the system. Guys, watch out. Eventually, this house of cards will collapse. I think it's just another small piece of information that ticks.
So you don't think it's a big deal?
No,
I do.
I think the leverage in the system, the fact that we're going to probably have we will at some point have a big reset, a collapse, a change of the guard, a collapse of the currency, a failure of economics. At some point that will happen. And I'm not saying that it won't, but I don't think that this downgrade in this credit rating is going to change anything financially. I think it's a moot point. I think it's something that we just
I want to
point
know. I want to know the chat thinks. If you're with me and you think this is a big deal, put a 1 in the chat, or if you're a channel member, put my face. If you're with Robin and you think this is a no biggie,
If it's
this is
such a
nothing
big
but-
deal, why had I never heard of the credit rating until today?
what do you mean? The credit ratings exist. The U.S. actually,
I know, I'm
back
saying-
in 2014, they got bumped down on Moody's. there's several credit rating agencies, and this is how people, governments,
But I had never
entities,
heard of this credit agency.
You've never heard
and
of
here's
Fitch?
the thing: we've been doing this show.
Just because you've never heard of something,
well, here's the
doesn't mean
thing:
it's not
if it's so important, why have we been doing this show for almost 2 years? And this is the first time we've mentioned it. If it's that important,
because
why?
the U.S. has been at the top of every credit rating, and so now one drops them down.
Well, the thing
it's a
is
big
when we
deal.
talk about the strength of the dollar, we've never mentioned it. And so what I'm saying is that if it's a big deal, it's that important, why has it never been mentioned? At least not from your mouth.
That's a bad argument.
How is that a bad argument? I think it's a legit argument.
It's not a
You're
legit
saying that it's vastly important. It's such a big deal. And
It
yet
is a big event when the U.S. government gets dropped in their credit rating. You cannot sit here and say that it's not a big deal. It's one of the leading ones. Yeah, you might not have heard about it, but you're not a big macro guy. I'm not a massive macro guy either. I don't follow this thing or report on it every day. But you better believe when the largest government, the largest economy in the world gets downgraded, of course it's a big deal.
They went from AAA to AA, man. They're still
That's a big
they're
deal.
still the gold standard,
That's
man.
a
Get out
different-
of here.
Okay, when the interest rates go from 5% to 6% on mortgages, it's not just 1%, it's tiny. You go from needing a $100,000 a year job to own a $400,000 house to $150,000. Your mortgage payments go from $2,000 to $2,300,
I'm not saying
$2,400.
the financial situation isn't dire. I'm not saying that the economy is in a good spot. I'm just saying that yesterday versus today, or 2 days ago versus yesterday, the downgrade on the credit rating is not a big deal. And before today, we have never spoken on it. And you're trying to blow it up to be some giant event. And we've never even discussed the credit rating before. And if
Because
you-
nothing had changed.
I get that.
Nothing had changed.
But if we have,
We also don't talk about Wells Fargo, but if Wells Fargo comes out tomorrow and says we're going to stop taking crypto, we're going to talk about it.
we have talked about Wells Fargo multiple times.
You get the
How
point I'm
many
trying to
times?
make.
Well, that's exactly my point. We talk about Wells Fargo all the time because they're very influential. They're very important. And if something were to happen to Wells
Credit
Fargo,
ratings are not influential. I can't. I don't.
well, if they're so influential, why have you never talked about them? That's what I'm saying.
Because nothing has changed. The U.S. has been at the top. There's nothing to talk about. They're the only place
Then
that's considered
why, when
not
you talk
risky,
when you
no
talk
risk.
about the U.S. dollar, why have you never said, with the strength of the U.S. dollar, why have you never said, oh, the U.S. dollar is the world reserve currency, it's the gold standard, like whatever, everybody uses fiat. Why have you never mentioned in your stacking of the U.S. dollar and its dominance? Why have you never put in the credit rating? That's what I'm saying. Like, we know that how many times on this show have you said that we're the world reserve currency? So obviously you're propping up the dollar for it being the medium of exchange. But you acknowledge that is powerful, right? It is very important that we're the world reserve currency. But however, you don't think it's very important to add that we're at the top of the credit agency, the credit list. You never have mentioned that before. So I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. And you don't either. You're just now trying to make it a big deal because you're trying to prove a point.
Let's move on.
All right. Let's talk about MicroStrategy. In July, MicroStrategy acquired an additional 467 Bitcoin for $14.4 million and now holds 152,800 BTC. And this is a tweet from Michael Saylor. Please join us at 5 p.m. Eastern as we discuss our Q2 financial results. And then we had this as well. MicroStrategy is looking to raise $750 million in Class A common stock to buy more Bitcoin. Robin, let me ask you this question. Is Saylor kind of going off the deep end here? Is he too leveraged? Is he throwing his too many eggs into one basket? What are your thoughts here?
Too leveraged? I don't think you can ever be too leveraged in Bitcoin. As long as you can pay the bills, right? You know, I guess as a person you can be too leveraged in Bitcoin. I guess in a company you could. I guess that's a viable question. But he's still their business is still going to operate. So as long as they have enough cash to say, I don't know, pay all of the SEC operating costs, you know, the public, because there's a lot of money that needs to go into being a publicly traded company. Yeah. So they can't spend 100% of all capital on Bitcoin. So as long as they keep enough money on the side, sure. But
what's interesting to
I'm
me,
not surprised at all, man.
what's interesting to me is, you mentioned MicroStrategy, they are a publicly traded company. And what does that mean? Well, once you're a publicly traded company and you have investors, you have essentially a fiduciary responsibility to those investors. And so I can imagine how a majority of the investors of holders of MicroStrategy stock are feeling as this guy continues to pile in to an asset that has been around for only 14 years, that still has a lot of question marks around it, that still gets a lot of hate, and so, but obviously Saylor doesn't care. He stepped down as CEO of MicroStrategy. He's now on the board. I believe he's chairman of the board. But,
So supposedly he crossed the 150,000 Bitcoin mark.
152.8 with this latest buy.
Yeah. Do you think that he gets to 1 million Bitcoin?
No,
You don't think so?
no. I think like 250,000 would be
Okay,
max.
but here's my question. We saw the rise of Tesla stock last bull market, right? You saw it go from, what was it, like $20 up to like $300 something dollars or $500 something dollars. And if we see a big price movement out of Bitcoin, first of all, Saylor's not going to take his foot off the gas. So I think it's already a foregone conclusion that he gets to say 300,000, right? He's going to 2x his position, right?
I mean, is it a foregone conclusion?
yeah.
I mean, Robin,
He's
look,
been buying. Okay. He's been buying for 2 years.
where's that money coming from?
From investors.
Robin, we're talking about
it's coming from investors.
talking about another 150,000 Bitcoin, another $5 billion.
Okay.
The guy
David,
has to issue more stock to raise
He's been
750
buying
million.
Bitcoin for less than 3 years. He's been buying Bitcoin for less than 3 years. He's already amassed 150,000. And so if you tell me he bought 150,000 Bitcoin in 2 years, how much Bitcoin do you think he'll buy over 20 years? Yeah, like he's not going
But
to
the
stop.
cost of buying is going to become
It will.
exponentially higher.
It will. But at the same time, this company is also going to grow as Bitcoin's price grows. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I mentioned Tesla. And so if he's using money that is invested into his company to buy more Bitcoin, if his stock goes up by 10, 20, 30x, and there's tons of money and it's a hot new stock, everybody's piling into it, he's going to have a ton more money to allocate towards Bitcoin. And also, it's a lot easier to raise capital for buying Bitcoin when you're hyper successful. The price is going up. Your stock price goes up. Everyone's making profits. You can go to a bank. You don't think Saylor will go to a bank and be like, hey, can I borrow another $500 billion? Can I borrow, 300? I'm just saying that
No, I know what you're saying.
he's not going to slow down. And so if the dude has raised 150,000 Bitcoin in 2 years, if he's not going to sell and he's not going to slow down, he will get to a 300. He will double his position. That I have zero doubt in that. On a time horizon of 20 years, that man will double his position. Now, will he get to 1 million Bitcoin? I don't know about that.
No, he will not. I'll say he won't get to 1 million.
Do you think if Bitcoin gets to $100,000, do you think that MicroStrategy will be a top 10 company on the Wall Street?
Just by profits and
Then what do you do with those profits? What do you do with that revenue? You can leverage more debt. The man lives off of the fact that he'll leverage as much debt as possible to buy more Bitcoin. And it's a small company.
Okay,
it's a small company compared to the big boys. And if he has that Google, that BlackRock money, and I think that with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is going to be a top 3 company, maybe 10, maybe 20 years from now. I think they're going to
in the U.S.
and globally.
Hold on. Okay. You're saying MicroStrategy will be a top 3 company in the world.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You see the sign back here?
No, I can't see.
Sin City Crypto.
Yeah.
We have a cryptocurrency channel. So I adamantly believe that crypto will replace fiat Maybe not 100%, but at least 30, 40, 60%. I think globally we'll be transacting with crypto. And I think that Bitcoin will be well over $1 million per coin. And with the man's conviction that he has, there is no chance if Bitcoin gets over $1 million, let's just go in a bullish scenario. Bitcoin gets to $5 million in 15 years. With the position that he has, let's say that he gets to 500,000 Bitcoin. I think that's very realistic. 500,000 Bitcoin at a price valuation of $5 million. You don't think he'll be a top 3 company? I believe from top to bottom that crypto will replace. Okay, do you think? Let me ask you a question. Will crypto and Bitcoin replace traditional finance? Do you believe that, or do you think that the banks and Google are going to be here running the world?
I think those companies will still be here, but they'll be operating on blockchain and in crypto.
They'll be operating as even more the point.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But you sound shocked. They're like, whoever has the biggest Bitcoin position will be the largest company in the world, or will be the largest player in the world. Now, I would assume it's going to be a nation state. I think it's going to be China, Russia, U.S. I think those are going to be the biggest players when it comes to valuation for crypto. I just don't think that a company can raise enough money in the same way that a government can, because they can just print their way into Bitcoin. But whatever private company there is that has the biggest Bitcoin position, and I'm talking about 500,000 Bitcoin, there's mathematically speaking, there's no.
A lot of Bitcoin.
You don't think that they're going to 2x their Bitcoin position?
That's a lot of Bitcoin. You said 500,000. That would be
I just a 200% increase. 200% increase on their position, or 400%.
That's a lot of Bitcoin, man. That is a lot of Bitcoin. When you're gonna have these ETFs,
okay. How much did they just raise? What was it?
Well, they're trying to raise 750 million.
So 750 million?
Correct.
So let's just say, how much Bitcoin can $1 billion buy?
I mean, do the math.
That's what I'm saying. So
you want me to do the math? Okay, I can do the math.
I mean, I'm looking for my calculator. So
all this time, just looking for a calculator.
You said $1 billion?
Result,
yeah, billion divided by, was it 30,000?
Call it 30,000.
Yeah.
33,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah. So
you got to do that five times?
So basically, he can scoop up 33,000 Bitcoin with the loan he just got. I'm just saying that if he used that, now you could take the extra 3,000 off. So you can say 30,000 Bitcoin. He may be doing over-the-counter price, buy it at 28,000. I think that he can get 30,000 Bitcoin, so he can go from 150 just with just the loan he has now. He can go from 150 to 180, and so he can go from 150,000 Bitcoin to 180,000. And you don't think the dude will get to 500,000 Bitcoin in the next 10 years?
I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. I just know that
it seems like a no-brainer conversation to me.
No, it's not a no-brainer conversation. I just know that with these other large institutions coming in,
I understand where you're coming from, because as you buy Bitcoin, as more people buy Bitcoin, the price goes up, right? And it's just the order book logic, right? If there's not enough liquidity and I come in and I try to buy 10,000 tokens at a $5 price. As I clear the order books, the only limit cells on there keep raising in price, and in turn, the price keeps going up. So, but you can do over-the-counter transactions, which prevents this. But at the same time, it is causing a supply shock. I understand. I understand the argument, and I don't think it. I'm by no means am I saying it is easy, but I think that Michael Saylor has such conviction for Bitcoin. He makes at least 5 to 10 buys a year, and each buy is in the order of millions of dollars. He's not scared of borrowing money, and he has a deep investment from BlackRock, And as the company's valuation soars with the price of Bitcoin, remember, he is still under his average buys at like 29,000 something. So either way, if he's not above or under, he's pretty damn even. Just imagine when Bitcoin is at $80,000, for example, how much his company's going to be valued and how much he can borrow on it. He's been amassing this Bitcoin at pretty much a dead even without much profit. You know, he hasn't been able to put the crown on yet, right? We know that's coming. And so imagine if when everybody on Wall Street are like, dude, this guy, Michael Saylor, he's a freaking genius, man. He's so smart. Like he went all in on Bitcoin when it was 29,000. Now it's 80. And like the stock price is 10x. Like, dude, that dude is going to raise so much money and buy. And then especially when he's like, told you. And then on top of that, told you, he's just going to buy more. He's like, I'm DCAing. I don't care. And then he's going to be on every podcast and news thing. And he's going to
Will he be on Sin City Crypto's podcast?
Well, maybe.
That remains to be seen. I want to give a shout out to Rocco. Who was it that super chatted us? Right there. Carnivore Zealot. $1.99 super chat says he has to sell. He is loaded with debt. At some point, you do have to pay that debt back. Correct? So, anyways, let's move on from Saylor to Uniswap. Now, Robin, we've both taken a pretty hard line stance on Hex, right? We don't condone Richard Hart. We told people not to invest in Hex. And
they have a new movie coming out this weekend.
Yes, we're going to go see it. Now, how do you feel about this? Uniswap, which is supposed to be a decentralized exchange, delisted Hex. Okay? Delisted Hex. Let me give you some context here. Uniswap has removed the Hex token from its interface and has stopped trading Hex cryptocurrencies. Uniswap's decision comes after the SEC claimed on Monday that Hex is unregistered securities and also mentioned Uniswap in the lawsuit. Uniswap added Hex to the list of unsupported tokens in the platform's interface, adding a note that it blocks tokens that, quote, infringe trademarks, proven fraudulent, or otherwise based on legal considerations. Now, no matter how much crap we've talked about Hex, there is no trademark infringement, and they have not been proven fraudulent. But the other one, legal considerations. In its lawsuit, the SEC also mentioned Uniswap while explaining why it chose the U.S. District for the Eastern District of New York versus where we've seen the Southern District of New York. The SEC said they chose this court because most of the proceedings described in the lawsuit took place at Uniswap, which has developers based in Brooklyn, which is, well, in the Eastern District of New York. So, Robin, what are your thoughts on Uniswap delisting a decentralized exchange, delisting a token because it got sued by a government body? Is it really decentralized?
I mean, was it? Here's the thing: everyone touts decentralization, but then there are consequences to it, right?
But is this decentralization though?
No, I don't think anything is 100% decentralized. Here's the thing: you'll never reach even Bitcoin's not 100% decentralized. There are a group of miners that could get together, and I understand that the network is more diverse and harder, but it is mathematically possible. There is a certain scenario where changes could be made to Bitcoin network. We saw the Taproot. So the argument that it's not decentralized. Nothing's decentralized. Now, you can get to a point of decentralization where governments can't manipulate it, right? You can get to a point where government influence on Bitcoin's network is damn near impossible.
Uniswap is not at that point, though.
No, it's not. But at the same time, it is also a market maker. I would look at it like a flea market, right? Or a thrift store or a swap meet or whatever you want to call it. Basically a marketplace in the retail sense that you could walk into, right? A bazaar or whatever you want to call it. And so you have a company that rents the space out, right? You say, hey, I have this market. Are you a farmer? Are you somebody that makes rugs or sells vapes or whatever it is? You know, come in. you can set up your shop. You pay a little fee. Now, if there's 1,000 shops in there, cool. It's, I guess you could say, decentralized, right? There's nobody controlling what's going on. You just pay to transact there. Now, if the police
Still
come
have
by,
a landlord.
yeah, but it's still, you also pay transaction fees to run on Uniswap, and Uniswap has a landlord, right? And you can say the same thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a landlord. It's the miners. Now, maybe they have more than one landlord. Maybe you say, hey, maybe this marketplace isn't run by one guy. Maybe it's not run by one farmer. Maybe it's run by the town. And maybe the town makes a decision on who can operate a shop here. At the end of the day, you can never completely remove a centralized entity from it. It's just not physically possible. Now, you could take the centralized entity and break it up and make it as fair as possible, but at the end of the day, you're always going to have some point of centralization.
I think this is a very bad move on Uniswap. You know, we've been pretty outspoken about
Do you
Hex,
think
but-
that if there's a token that is literally rug pulling, that you don't think they
but
should
it's
end
not
the contract?
rug pulling. Hex is not rug pulling. That's the thing.
But I'm not saying that this one is. I'm just saying that at some point you have to pick and choose, right?
I would rather them not list these scam tokens that people launch and take money from people.
They don't.
Hex has been around for a very
it's not that
long
they
time.
pick. They don't choose who to list. So you just
But
plug
they
in,
choose who to delist.
You plug in your ERC20.
They
token.
choose. I have not seen them delist some of these rug pulls. Why? And you go and delist something like Hex.
They have delisted rug pulls. They have. They have removed the contract.
I can go to Uniswap right now and show
I
you
know
10.
I'm not saying that but here's the thing. How many tokens have been launched? There's hundreds of thousands of tokens at this point. And with all these tokens being launched, they don't have the capabilities of removing all of them. And so, yeah, the big name ones they do remove.
I think it's a bad move on Uniswap. I don't think they should have delisted. Now, unless, like in the article states, right? And I'm going to go back and read it again. As the article states,
Okay. What
legal considerations. And they also were named in the lawsuit. So my thinking is, A, they shit their pants and said, we want...
So if you were working at a Uniswap, you wouldn't delist it? If you were the founder of Uniswap, you're like, hey man, we got listed in this lawsuit.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Unless they got pushed into a legal corner and they were given an ultimatum,
the thing
or
is,
they're just scared.
It's not that they didn't get put. Here's the thing: that companies don't wait to get sued. They have lawyers on retainer that give them counsel and advice. And at some point, some lawyers like, hey man, you know what? This Hex thing, I would recommend, my personal legal counsel is to remove it. Now, whether or not that's the right decision or not, I don't know. I'm just saying that if I was the founder of Uniswap, I'd probably do the same thing.
Oh, man, I don't know. I think it's a bad move by Uniswap. You know, what you're also doing is you're not allowing people to move out of the token if they want to. You know, Uniswap is the largest, and I understand there's other places you can go, but Uniswap is the largest DEX in our space on the largest chain, and so.
But here is also, I don't think we've talked about it. Is what does that mean for Hex? It's pretty much just traded on Uniswap. It's got a MEXC global listing and a. That's it, man. Like, where the hell are you going to trade Hex at? Like, let me look it up. They don't have much, man. And so,
What do you guys think? I want to know what the chat thinks while Rob looks this up.
So Hex, all right. So their markets.
Hold on.
So the Hex market, they have BitGet MEXC. Like, they don't have much, bro. Like all of their liquidity is running. Their liquidity is running on Uniswap, man. And so when you look at the 24-hour volume, look, you got BitGet at $300,000, MEXC at $200,000, and then the $80,000. Like that's a 24-hour volume on a project that is supposed to have a lot of liquidity, and that's it, dude. Quick, that's it. Everything else is tiny.
What do you guys think? Was this a bad move on Uniswap? Put a 1. Was it a good move? Put a 2.
Well, the price of Hex also dumped down to a third of a penny, which was a price that we hadn't seen since 2020 or 2020. So December of 2020 was the last time it got down that low. And I'm just looking at it like, here's the thing, whether or not you agree with the Uniswap thing, you just pulled its number one source of liquidity. And so if you're in the ecosystem, you're at a price point where it was the same price after it shortly launched. It's got no liquidity. And how long before BitGet and MEXC remove it? Because we saw what happened to XRP in the listing. And then on top of that, what happens if too much liquidity gets pulled and people try to sell and the price drops even more? Is there going to be, is the token going to collapse? That's something you got to think about.
I mean, we're sitting at half a penny right now.
If there is insolvency issues, if the allegations are that he spent customer funds to buy Lambos and all this other stuff.
Those are the allegations.
Yeah, that's
They
what I'm
have not
saying.
been proven yet.
If those end up being true, and he spent a massive amount of the Hex treasury that was not his, that was customer funds, and then on top of that, you got to think that the Hex business model with staking is reliant on paying out these very high fees, right, or very high returns, APYs, up to the 38% APY on the longest lockup. So you got to pay that out still. And then as people's unlocks come, they're going to freaking run for the hills, man. I'm just saying that I'd be very careful with Hex, man. Very careful with Hex.
There's no liquidity, guys. There's no point even trying.
Yeah, there's no liquidity. You're going to have a hard time selling. Even then, you're probably selling at a loss. And then on top of that, I don't know where money comes in at. Because remember, if you want the price to go up, you need new money coming in. But where are you even going to buy this thing at?
All right, guys. Want to give one more shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want more information on how they can help your business with your networking and IT and cybersecurity, click the link in the description of this video or visit bluewiretech.com. Also, go to twitter.com and follow us on Twitter. And our website is live, guys. SinCityCrypto.io. It's got all of our affiliate links on there. It's got all of our contact info on there. Go check it out. Let us know what you guys think. SinCityCrypto.io. Also, inandoutcrypto.com. That is our merch store. Now, will you not only find crypto merch, but Sin City merch. I said that backwards. But you have different, collections like SHIB and Light. Do you have a Litecoin collection, Rocco? No. Good move. Good move.
Coffee mug.
Also, you can buy gear for your wife, or if you are a lady, for yourself, for your dog, for your cat, for your porcupine, I believe. Guys, with that being said, you know what time it is, Rocco? Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. What an amazing show today was. Tomorrow will be even more amazinger. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Until tomorrow, peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado